Welcome to another episode of Core Reviews. I'm Legacy.
And I'm Max.
I'm Bobby.
Vitamin J.
All right, as we're here, we're reviewing another week of NFL. I believe we are week 15.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yep, we are at week 15, ready to go with another week of exciting football. Now, usually we go and start off with a Thursday night game, but I'm sorry, we're going to have to discuss about this game. It was my New England Patriots losing to the Raiders. And in all my years as a Patriots fan, I like to say I'm a glory years Patriots fan because I really haven't had much downfall. What the hell happened? I mean, can somebody explain to me what on earth they were doing? Because I'm half convinced, I am really convinced that they threw Josh McDaniels a bone and were trying to throw that game. It's a tie game. You then it's just a blender of, okay, you're going to run the ball to run out the clock. Okay, whatever. Don't really see the point of that. You might as well just throw it if you're going to try and get another play. Okay, Stevenson laterals it. Not bad. Jacoby Myers, what the hell are you doing?
He was trying to be a hero.
It's like, oh, I didn't see Chandler Jones there, but you saw Mac Jones. You realize Mac Jones has no speed on him, is not going to really do. Just go down. You're tied. I really wish he would have come out afterwards and say, sorry, I thought we were down by 1 point. I would have understood. But the fact you thought we were tied, you're going to overtime. Just take the sack. Just go down. Okay, cool. You go to overtime. The Patriots' motto is do your job. All right? Just do your job. That was not do your job. That's don't try and be a hero. Just do your job and go down. I'm so upset because it's just the dumbest play on earth. If they had lost because just bad defense, whatever, or just an interception that was just, maybe I would have been like, whatever. But the way you lost, I'm baffled by it. And then the coaching explanation of, oh, we didn't believe Mac Jones could throw a 55-yard Hail Mary. So what was that play? So why don't you at least throw it 20 yards and then try and do that weird stuff?
Or just take a knee. Or take a knee
right?
overtime.
Yeah, the game was tied. I'm really just so convinced. Part of me is really I really wish you could have even just come out and said, hey, we know Josh McDaniels is kind of on the hot seat. We wanted to throw him a game to help him out so he could win a game. I know you can't say that, but I wish that was the explanation. And it was a plethora of just dumb calls and just, I'm usually over this horrible offensive coordinator. Matt Patricia, oh, God, I don't know how upset I am with just his offensive calling because it's just been atrocious and stupid all year. The fact he even got the job, him or Joe Judge, I don't mind they came back to the Patriots, but I'm sorry why are they calling plays still at this point? This is the point where I'm going to start questioning Bill Belichick because you are being too nice to your boys. Where's the ruthless Bill Belichick that used to say, you either good enough or not, do your job, and if you can't do it, get out of my system, and I'll go find somebody else who can. I know we praise Bill Belichick. He's won a lot of Super Bowls, but this is on you, buddy. You're the one who appointed both these guys. You have full control of the organization. You need to fire both of them and get an actual offensive coordinator. It's just that game was just I couldn't believe it in front of my eyes. I was so baffled by that last play. It was the first time I'm what the hell is going on with this team? I understand they're not great, but what? That's concerning. I'm there.
Well, what do you think about the Keelan Cole catch? Because it didn't look like a touchdown to me.
I didn't think it was a touchdown, but you know what?
Max, but these refs are not consistent with anything.
Do they even know what a touchdown?
No, they don't know what a touchdown or a catch.
But as far as the Patriots, I think this pretty much kills any chance of them making the playoffs. They got Bengals, Dolphins, Bills left. They would have to at the very least go 2-1 to make playoffs, and I just don't see that happening. So this pretty much kills their playoff hopes. For the Raiders, it keeps their slim playoff hopes alive. They're 6-8. They're probably still not going to make it, but now they can at least say they have a chance. Not looking likely. But let's go ahead and go to our Thursday night game. It was the 49ers beating the Seahawks 21-13. Brock Purdy is here.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, people were falling in love with him. I got to see more. Again, I think most quarterbacks in this offense with Kyle Shanahan could do pretty well. He keeps their Super Bowl odds alive.
I want to go into a make-believe scenario.
Uh-huh.
What are we going to do? Because right now, the 49ers look like the second best team, if not the best team in the NFC. It's What happens if Purdy gets into the NFC Championship game? Now, the controversy for next year with Trey Lance, because Trey Lance, yes, he didn't play that as much, but he didn't look like Purdy's probably looking a little bit better. Now that conversation gets a little more interesting of what do you do with Trey Lance next year?
I think they still start Trey Lance because he has more potential.
I think the only way Brock Purdy has a chance of starting next year
They win.
if he wins.
Yeah, if they win the Super Bowl, then you gotta keep him at starter.
Oh yeah.
But if he gets to the NFC Championship and loses, I still think the Niners will go with Trey Lance.
They mortgage their future on Trey Lance, but if he struggles, they probably will have no shame in putting on Purdy.
He'll have a short leash. I mean, but I think with Brock Purdy doing well, that pretty much means. I mean, it's guaranteed anyway that Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't coming back. But if Garoppolo had made another NFC Championship game, he could have potentially come back again. But I think with Brock Purdy doing well, it's like, all right, Garoppolo, your time here is done.
You're finito.
But for the Seahawks, their bad spell continues. They are 1-4 in their last 5 games. They got the Chiefs, Jets, Rams coming up. Let's assume they lose to the Chiefs. So that leaves them at 9-8. So they're on the outside looking in. They had their chances, and they've really blown it these past 5 weeks. Losing to the Buccaneers, Raiders, and Panthers, that has pretty much killed their playoff hopes. So now they're on the outside looking in. They still have a shot. I think they have a better shot than the Patriots do on the AFC side, but the Cinderella story is closing, and it's closing fast for them.
Yep. Looks like
Not Gino's fault.
The 49ers defense contained him really well this game. Really gave him hits.
I mean, part of me kind of was like, all right, this ride's been good, but like, is it really going to keep, kind of had
this is definitely outperforming.
This is gonna go down, right?
This is definitely outperforming what everyone thought of them.
Oh yeah, no.
He's still playing well. I think he'll still get his contract, but yeah.
He definitely gets another year starting.
Well, yeah. Long ago, because I was like, maybe 5 wins was like, if you told me over under 5 wins, I was going under.
I had him as the worst team in the league, so what do I know?
As a Panthers fan, it makes me very happy to see Christian McCaffrey thriving.
He almost has 1,000 rushing yards.
Makes me happy to see him doing well. He seems happier over there.
Wouldn't you go from Carolina to California?
He's in a competent organization. He's not in a incompetent one.
He only needs 73 more yards for 1,000 yards.
And if he wins the Super Bowl, that means I win a Super Bowl in my heart.
No, that's not how it works. I'm just kidding. Yeah,
you'll get as a Panthers fan.
That's the closest I get for who knows how long.
But we'll move on from that, and we'll go quickly over this one because there's not really much to say. But this is a Saturday game. The Browns beating the Ravens 13-3.
Yeah,
no Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson might not play this week either.
Worst time this could happen.
Who do they play? The Ravens will play the Falcons this week. They could win that. I mean, they could win that game, but they could also lose that game. But they should win it anyway, even with Tyler Huntley playing. But this is really costing Lamar. This injury is really going to, like we said last week, is really going to hurt his quest for his guaranteed contract. And now they're not in the lead for the AFC North anymore. The Bengals are ahead of them now. They're still in the playoffs, but if they keep losing these games like they did last year, they kept losing these games at the end of the year because Lamar Jackson wasn't playing, and they're out the playoffs. But they still should make it, or it's not looking as good as they were.
But you're also going, even with him, it also is like you now lose your home field. Lamar Jackson's going to come back, but he's already somewhat injured. So that's also like, oh God, like, wasn't as serious as it could have been, but still it's like, great. Now we're having an injured quarterback coming in, to playoffs. And now we're in make or break games. Pressure's real.
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this game.
Yep. Browns won, but I mean, defense showed out for the Browns. Offensively, the Browns still aren't there. Deshaun Watson still needs more time. We'll see what that looks like.
He needs another massage.
Now, this next one should be fun, fellas. We got the Minnesota Vikings having the greatest comeback of all time. Well, okay, second greatest. Super Bowl one's still the greatest one. But as far as points, this is the greatest comeback in terms of points, 33 points. The Vikings beating the Colts 39-36.
I mean, Matt Ryan does it again. Just can't.
Could have happened to a better quarterback and a better franchise. Am I right?
I mean, the only other one would have been the Commanders because I just hate
Mhm.
their owner, Dan Snyder, even more.
I thought
Like,
Jeff Saturday was a good coach and going to turn this thing around.
Run the table. He's going to run the table.
table.
Like, if your team has a giant lead and then you realize your quarterback is Matt Ryan, you probably feel nervous from now on.
No
I
leader.
Yeah, no team. Every team's gonna be like, we still got a shot, guys. We still got a shot. You could have just taken a knee for the rest of the game, and I think they would have ran out of time to come back.
You know, it's crazy. The defense could have played any, but now in the second half they didn't play well. But in the first half, the defense got a punt block touchdown and an interception touchdown, and they stopped them twice on fourth down. So the defense was the reason why they're up 33-0 at half. And Matt Ryan, the whole game, could do absolutely nothing on offense, and that cost them time and time again. They went 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and obviously that helped Minnesota come back. Now the defense still shouldn't allow that many points, but still, but Matt Ryan is not moving the ball effectively. They lost Jonathan Taylor this game, but with him, Matt Ryan couldn't challenge the defense whatsoever. Everything's short with him because he has no arm left.
Now, y'all hear something interesting about Matt Ryan? He has the largest blown lead in the regular season and the Super Bowl, but he also has the largest blown lead in the NFC title game, 17-0, and the largest blown lead in an international game. He was up 21-0 on loss. Matt Ryan just stays making history.
I stopped watching the game. I was like,
Someone
"There's
needs
no
to go to Frank Reich and ask him how he feels. He probably was so happy to see this.
way." Mhm.
He's like, well,
And-
he lost his record because he was the Bills quarterback when he came back 31 down. But he's like, this is so much better.
I don't know the
Oh, yeah.
exact number, but there's a stat in NFL history, throughout the whole league history. Teams that are up by, I forget the number, I want to say 30 points or so, were 1,500 1-1 in NFL history before this game. And the one was the Bills comeback in the playoffs. So this is the second one. You're talking about 1,500 games now, and you finally, you're the second per team to lose ever.
Mm,
Right,
mm.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
Mhm.
And again, you know who else should be elated? Carson Wentz. Of all that trash people talked about him during the offseason of how
He wouldn't have
bad he
choked that
was.
lead.
It's like,
He would not have
how-
choked that lead.
no.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's
Imagine
not
being a-
playing right now, but still, he at least looks better than he doesn't look to be the cause of the issues in Indianapolis any longer, for sure. It looks like it's the guy up top.
Mm.
Like, can you imagine being a Colts fan watching that game? You lost the biggest, you choked the biggest lead of all time.
This is up there with the worst seasons in Colts history.
Mm-hmm. 33 points. You're all
Especially-
thinking. Everybody's thinking, oh, it's game.
And this is such a winnable AFC South.
Especially with the expectation. A lot of people expecting them to be a playoff team. And
Well,
so,
yeah, right after the
Mhm.
season, Jim Irsay, I said it in another episode, but after the season, this is before he got rid of Wentz, but I knew it was coming after what he said. He said, I'm all chips in for 2022. And this is what all chips in look like.
Yeah, you know, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, again, with a Tennessee Titans team that got rid of AJ Brown, Jacksonville, we still rebuilding, and you were the team that everybody was like, I think you're gonna win it. Nope.
Again, couldn't happen to a better franchise and a better quarterback. We'll move it on to the other Saturday night game. Buffalo Bills beating the Miami Dolphins 32-29.
Bills are looking good. They avenged the loss.
But Josh Allen had a great game, 4 touchdown passes. He led the team in rushing, so he pretty much was carrying the team. And this was a bit of a wintry game. I'm also impressed with the Dolphins a little bit because I thought they would struggle a little bit because it was a very cold game. It started snowing a lot in the fourth quarter. They kept it competitive. And with them, being a Florida team, those, traditionally don't do so well when it's in those conditions. So they kind of showed that they can play in these kind of nasty games. This wasn't totally nasty because the field was actually pretty clear for most of the game, but still, they performed better than I thought.
It was a pretty interesting game. I think this game was like, we say it was sports. This game was close. Also, it had 1 point early where Josh Allen fumbled, and I think it was Josh Allen fumbled. The lineman recovered, but it was like pretty close. Of like, if Miami probably at that point recovers it, they would have been on like the 20 or 30, well in territory that it's like they would have gone up another score. So it was dicey. It was dicey at one point, but good play by them because Miami did take the early lead. But it was a good job by both teams.
Miami's on a 3-game losing streak, but they still control their own destiny for the playoffs. They play I know we said they play the Patriots. They also play the Packers this week. They should win that game, and then play the Jets the last week of the season. I'd imagine they would win that game too. So I think they'll still make playoffs. If they don't, it's going to be. I think it's going to be an uh-oh moment for some people in that organization. But we'll see what happens with them. We'll move on from Saturday and move into Sunday. We'll start with the Eagles beating the Bears 25-20. Again, like Jacob like Jacob mentioned, Hurts threw the 2 picks. Passing wise, wasn't his best day in the first half. He started getting much better in the second half with passing. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, gives him 13 for the year, almost Cam Newton's record. They were 14. But also, he sprained his shoulder in the third quarter, and then surprisingly, maybe because of the adrenaline, but he still threw the ball well in the fourth quarter and led them to really seal the game away with a huge 68-yard completion to A.J. Brown. But another impressive thing was the Bears kept this competitive. Even though they're 3-11, with Justin Fields playing the way he's been playing lately, they're not a team you want to play. Even though the record's bad, you still like, crap, I got to play Justin Fields. I don't want to have to chase this dude around all day.
Yeah, so just give the man some weapons.
That will be a focus in the offseason, I guarantee it. The only thing I will say with Justin Fields is that, of course, I watched this game. Justin Fields' accuracy, even on like short screen passes, it was horrendous. I'm not even exaggerating. It was horrendous. He missed screen throws, dirted them, or sailed them high or too far ahead. So if he can get the simple stuff done correctly and accurately, he could be up there with one of the best. I don't know if he'll ever be elite, but he can be up there with like Lamar Jackson.
I mean, right now, to me, he's the second best quarterback in his class behind Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about Trevor Lawrence here in a minute, but
he's now the third quarterback to get 1,000 rushing yards.
Yes, and he has the potential to break the record.
My takeaway from this game is for the future, and probably not this year, but for future years, is Eagles probably watching how much they run Jalen Hurts. Just because you can't last that long running that. Like, he ran quite a bit. You can't last that long.
Thanks for bringing that up. Let me go into this because I did want to mention this. Jalen Hurts had 17 carries this game. Miles Sanders in the first half, I believe, had 2 or 3 carries. He did not carry it in the first quarter whatsoever. Now, a lot of the runs for Jalen Hurts are RPOs, where there's a choice between passing and running, and he chooses to run. But we need to start doing some more traditional runs. We cannot run him that many times. Again, because if you do it, you're going to get hurt like you did here. The Eagles are lucky. I had that bad hour yesterday when it was rumored that he broke his collarbone. So they're lucky that it's just a sprained shoulder, that he could be back after missing this one.
Well, so, I mean, because he can't be taking these hits. Yeah. Max, no offense, he's no Cam Newton. He's not big Cam Newton, so he can't be taking all these hits like he did.
Well, what helps Jalen Hurts is that he is solidly built and he's strong. So he's not like Lamar, who he's skinny. Lamar's skinny, so I think Jalen can take more of a beating. But 17 carries in a game is not it. Miles Sanders should be getting near 20 carries a game.
Yeah,
and they've done this multiple times in the first half where Miles Sanders would have like 1 or 2 carries, and that is just unacceptable.
With him being hurt, hopefully it's not too bad. But if they lose, now he might actually have to play that final game and affect our Giants over there. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm
hopeful that if they have the next 2 games, he only plays for like a half, hopefully.
Well, the Eagles only need to win 1 more game to seal the number 1 seed. And they play the Saints after they play the Cowboys. And the Eagles are going to want to beat the Saints because, again, they own the Saints' first-round pick. And I believe they could beat the Saints even with Gardner Minshew starting. So if they do beat the Saints, there's really no incentive to play Jalen Hurts more than a quarter against the Giants. So you still have hope. We'll see how that goes. But A.J. Brown, 1,200 yards. Devontae Smith, almost 1,000 yards. I was complaining through Wentz's whole tenure that they didn't ever give him weapons. We finally got weapons for a quarterback here. Didn't do it with McNabb either till later in his career. So finally we get to surround a quarterback with weapons. And Dallas Goedert is coming back this week. So offense is loaded. So good times there. We'll see what happens. I would imagine Jalen Hurts is not playing this week against Dallas.
You don't want to risk that injury this close.
All right, but we'll see what happens there. Let's move on to the Saints beating the Falcons 21-18. Terrible start for Desmond Ridder. Really a truly abysmal performance. And I think Marcus Mariota is not really hurt. I think that was an injury, but they had to see what they had in Desmond Ridder just to see if they needed to get another quarterback. So I don't mind that they did that. I do mind them losing to the Saints though, because that helps their pick.
Yeah.
And now
the Saints, isn't that a sweep? Didn't they sweep the Falcons this year?
probably, I think so. Yeah,
Because I think that the Falcons choked. They
beat them.
really
They beat them week 1. Yeah.
Mhm.
And now the NFC South, the super competitive NFC South, super competitive
Toughest
NFC
division
South.
in
Every
football.
team in the
Right
division, 1 game back, 6-8 for the Bucks, 5-9 everybody else.
Yeah, nothing much to say about this game. I mean, who cared?
It's just it's fine. 2 bad teams playing. The only thing really of note is that the NFC South is every team still in it somehow. Let's go into this one. We have the Roaring Lions beating the Jets 20-17. The Lions are making the playoffs, man. Look, the next 3
they're the way they're playing, they're gonna make it.
they got Panthers, Bears, Packers. They could easily go 3-0 there.
Well,
Mhm.
if they do that, Coach of the Year is locked up.
I mean, it has to be, right? The Jets are on the opposite side. They're going from a team that was looking like playoffs, now outside looking in. Lions definitely outside looking in. Now they're screaming back. They could essentially control their own destiny. Right now, they're still out of it, but Washington plays San Francisco this week. Then they play the Browns. They could beat the Browns. And then they play the Cowboys, which I guess depends on what the Cowboys are doing that last week. But they play San Francisco this week, and you have to imagine Washington's losing that game. But the Lions still playing really well. Defense showed out this week, which they have not been good all year, so that's good. Now, for the Jets, Zach Wilson statistically looked okay. His completion percentage was still not very good, but he had 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. The pick he threw, I actually saw that one live. That was not a good throw whatsoever. I think with Mike White, they would have won this game. So I don't care if Zach Wilson threw 300 yards. I still don't think he's that good, and I think him starting – like I said before Mike White started, that I think if he continues to play, he's going to cost the Jets the playoffs, and I think that's going to happen.
I agree.
Zach Wilson's going to have to do a lot for me to turn my opinion on him.
Yeah.
Max, that man survived the Cougar attack. You know, he can do anything.
They're going to be a team no one wants to – now, they're not going to win Super Bowl or nothing, but teams going to like, crap, I got to play them. Right, but let's go ahead and move towards our kitten corner. It was the Steelers beating the Panthers 24-16.
I want to say they haven't beaten them since like 97. Let's see. It was 96. 96. They haven't beaten it. And that was the first time they played the Steelers, though. So they have not beaten the Steelers since the first time they played.
Not much from Mr. Trubisky. He had a good completion percentage, good yards per attempt, but didn't need to do much. He really just let the defense and running game kind of, seal the deal there, which worked for them because the Steelers defense, even when they're doing bad, or when the team's doing bad, the Steelers defense is still pretty good. But Phil's boy, even though he lost, no turnovers for Sam Darnold.
Yeah, he looked decent.
Look, and I can't follow him too much. To start the third quarter, the Steelers had a 21 play drive to start the third quarter. It took 11 minutes off the clock.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his stats weren't the greatest, but again, he didn't have the ball much.
I mean, his stats weren't bad. 14 out of 23, 225.
The Panthers couldn't run the ball. That's why they lost.
Yeah, Panthers had 16 running attempts for 21 yards.
Like the Steelers knew what they needed to do. You want to stop Sam Darnold, you got to take him out. They kept him off the field. They were too scared. They were too scared of my boy.
After seeing Baker play, I no longer feel like any ill will towards Darnold, even if he makes mistakes. Well, it's not a Baker mistake. So.
Yeah, well, he's gone 3 straight games without a turnover. I don't know if Baker could go
and I
one.
believe this is the first time in Sam Darnold's career he's gone 3 straight games with a touchdown and no turnovers.
So he's improved.
So he's reinventing himself.
He's improved.
Just give him a competent coach, and he can do some things.
Like I said, for your boy's looking good, but it's never been a doubt about his talent. It's always been about his mental capacity for quarterback.
Let's go to our next game, and that will be the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Houston Texans in overtime, 30-24.
Another competitive game.
The Texans last 2 weeks very competitive against the Cowboys and Chiefs. So they're 1-12-1, but they're not making it too easy on people lately. So I give them credit for that. Still perfect for Houston. You're losing these games, but you're still seeing your team fight. So that's good. But Mahomes, I think now, especially with the Hurts injury, Mahomes is pretty much locked in the MVP. I really don't think anyone's going to catch him at this point unless
only they would if he collapses.
Yeah,
If he has
but
another like 3-pick game, then Josh Allen would probably overtake him. But
Well,
Too
Max,
many.
maybe you don't want Hurst to win it because the last MVP to win the Super Bowl was '99.
True,
that is so crazy.
Yeah, and it is bad luck. It is a
So
bad
maybe
omen
you
when you
don't
win
want
that.
Hurst to win it.
And I think the big takeaway is just like Kansas City struggled with this team. Like,
Right.
I understand Dallas because it's Dallas, but Kansas City, like, I'm surprised
Well,
it took you to overtime
Yeah,
to beat the
Well,
worst
Kansas
team in
City
the
does
league.
this several times
Yeah.
like each year because they lost to the Colts earlier this season.
Oh yeah, they did. So it was one of those. I mean, it could be just one of those like you got an off week. It's
Yeah, I
it's
think they
whatever,
were
but it's
probably
just like one of those you want to be.
yeah, they're probably
Yeah.
bored. They're like, oh my god, we got to play the Texans. Can we just
I
get
mean,
to the
Mhm.
playoffs?
because if you look at their schedule, they play Seahawks, Broncos, Raiders. They could easily win
Easy-
those 3 games.
easy
So
schedule, easy
easy
schedule.
14-3.
All right, let's move on from that, and we'll quickly go over this. Not really much to talk about. The Denver Broncos beating the Cardinals 24-15. The only
That was
good
bad.
news for Denver is that you won a game, so now that pick for Seattle isn't as good as it was, but it's still top 5, I believe. So 4-10, Cardinals officially out of the playoffs. Cliff Kingsbury is going to be fired, and they're going to have to start all over.
Keep Kingsbury for that worst pick, and hope you can get couple things, or it's not looking good.
All right, let's move on from that game no one cares about. Let's go on to this game, which I very much loved, especially the ending. It was the Jacksonville Jaguars coming back to defeat the Cowboys 40-34 in overtime.
T-Law has arrived.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence has emerged. I believe in his last 6 or so games, he has 14 touchdowns, 1 pick. I mean, he has really rebounded since we called him out. Thanks for listening to the pod.
Yeah, so he listened to us.
This is the prince that was promised, and he was like just on fire. I don't even know what to say. He was on fire. The run game still even played well too. Dallas's defense let up it's like about 7.2 yards a carry because Etienne had 100 yards off like 15 carries or something like that, and it was. I think what it also is reminding is Dallas has still like their defense is good, but still has some weaknesses. I mean, their offense at points, can you really rely on it? It's just showing. And
one thing that's not really talked about too much is Dak has been very turnover prone lately. I know the second interception wasn't his fault. That first one, though, was a horrendous throw, and it put Jacksonville back into the game. But Dak Prescott has played 9 games, has 11 picks. And again, I know not all of his fault, but every quarterback has picks that aren't his fault. So that's just what it is. What it is.
Congrats to the Cons because they actually made a good move, which is something that's not well done throughout their owning history. Doug Peterson, like what he's gotten out of Trevor Lawrence and this offense and how it's looked, and with the fact they still have to add Calvin Ridley to this, like how the hell he wasn't hired quicker from teams of like there should have been more of a bidding war for him. If I'm like Denver, I'm like, why the hell did we not try and get this dude right now? Because why do we not try? Because he was good in Philadelphia. It's like, yeah, the last year's weren't the best, but he was still a great. And now you're seeing again what he's doing with the young because he Wentz had his best year with Peterson. Foles had that amazing year, and now it's about to be Dak with Trevor with a good year.
I knew when Jacksonville hired Doug Peterson, I knew it was going to be a good match.
Oh, it was.
But the crazy thing for Jacksonville is that they essentially control their own destiny to the playoffs. The Titans lost this week, and they played Jacksonville again. So Jacksonville's only 1 game back from Tennessee for the AFC South title. So if they go 3-0, in which that one of those games is against Tennessee, so they would go 2-0 against Tennessee, and let's see who else they play. They play the Jets and Texans. They could beat those teams. They could potentially win the AFC South.
I kind of hope they do. So Tennessee moves on for Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, I think we all would prefer to see Jacksonville in the playoffs than Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
Let's go ahead and segue into the Tennessee game. They lost to the Chargers 17-14. Tennessee has lost 4 in a row. They played the Texans this week, so I would imagine they win that game. But then they play the Cowboys and Jaguars. They could easily lose those 2 games.
Yep.
Not a good schedule.
Dreadful. Honestly, the offensive coordinator Browning needs to be fired.
Yeah, the only thing that works in this offense is Derrick Henry. 1,300 rushing yards,
The
12
defense
touchdowns.
played great. Herbert had no touchdowns and 2 picks, so defense played well. But
Yeah, defense Tennessee is really good, but like you said, the offense. I mean, partly the receiving weapons aren't good, but they had AJ Brown. The GM
Yeah,
traded
imagine
him.
if
He has got
that
fired.
genius GM
Who's
didn't
now
trade
fired.
who is now fired, traded the best receiver, a Pro Bowl receiver, to another team.
Yep, and supposedly Mike Vrabel was like against that move. So
And
The only
Derrick
advantage.
Henry's probably got like 2 more top tier years, and then
Mhm.
See, with how big he is, I might give him 3 or 4.
they need to start. They probably need to draft a running back or something and start to take the load off of Henry.
They do have with the Titans is the fact that Derrick Henry destroys the AFC South. So 2 of your matchups are against AFC
Right.
South opponents. So that is your one advantage.
And for the Chargers, this puts them right. They're in the playoffs right now, so as long as they don't screw up, they'll be in there, which will save Brandon Staley's job. They got
That's so
Colts,
fun.
Rams, Broncos. That's three. That should be 3 dubs.
dubs. That should be. If they lose any of those games, that will be a colossal failure, honestly.
And they've had a history of
Yep.
losing stuff at the wrong time.
Oh, for
No,
sure,
So-
for sure.
Yep.
But for Herbert, this was not his best game, but he did come up with that insanely clutch throw near the end of the game to Mike Williams, put him in field goal range to get the game-winning field goal. So not a good performance, but enough. It was good enough in this circumstance. But it still showed his talent to be as potentially an elite quarterback coming up. I think he needs a new offensive coordinator. I think Joe Lombardi sucks.
Honestly, Max, even if the Colts make playoffs,
Chargers.
if I'm that Chargers. I don't know why I keep saying the Colts. Chargers make playoffs. I'm still like, I would still fire him. I'm still
firing him.
I would
It
still
would
fire
depend
him
on
in
how they
the
look.
I mean,
in the
it
playoffs.
depends how they look, but like, I mean, here's the only reason I wouldn't. If I would still be looking for different options, especially if I could get Sean. If I could get a Sean Payton.
right.
then
If I get Sean
he's
Payton,
gone.
you're fired.
I would still. I'm still looking at options, and I'm like, if Sean Payton, if I have to throw a boatload of money and be like, here you go, what do you want? What do you want? Here's a bunch of money. Got a great quarterback. Got a good offense. What do you want? Like, he would still be gone in my book.
No, this team should be better than what they are, so I could definitely
Yeah.
still see it. We'll see. They're in the playoffs right now and look to be a lock as long as they don't screw it up. With the Chargers, you never know.
Sure.
But let's just go ahead and move into our next game. It was the Bengals coming back down from 17-0 to beat the Buccaneers 34-23.
Even with that lead, I knew they'll come back.
Yeah, this was the first time. Well, Tom Brady had a turnover in 4 straight drives. This is the first time in Tom Brady's career he's ever lost 8 games in the season.
Impressive.
Is that Tom Brady? He's 45 years old, and he is on pace. He's already thrown it the most in the league with over 600 times. He is on pace for 757 pass attempts this year.
Dang, is that the record? With that
It's got to be.
I think Stafford has 700 one year.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
700 something.
Oh, well, it makes them so predictable.
It not only will break the record, it would shatter it. I don't know why they are making him throw the ball that much. I know the running game isn't good, but I feel like Byron Leftwich is just doing a horrendous job calling plays this year. The O-line is worse because of injuries. When I watch their games, these play calls they're doing just don't make any sense. They're running when they should be passing, and then passing, doing some screen plays. They don't really have anybody who's like that fast, so I don't know why they're doing these screen plays. You know what I'm saying? They have Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, tack down field.
The one thing I will say, the funny thing is, it was like a tale of 2 halves. The first quarter was probably the best we've seen Tom Brady play all year.
Yeah, they killed it.
Besides those, they were killing it. They're rolling, and this was like, okay, maybe this is the moment they're like, put it together. Maybe this is what we've all been kind of talking about of why teams are like, you kind of can't count the Bucs out because there's still all of us in the back of our heads. It's still Tom Brady, and there's still that little fear of like, maybe that team just puts it together at the right time and goes on a run. I don't know for them. The only positive I think is Jensen might be coming back soon, as well as they might be getting 2 of their linemen back.
Okay, well,
I think
that
it
was
was Jensen and Wirfs, and I'm like, that's where Jensen's come back, Wirfs come back. The defense, I mean, honestly, defense played pretty well. I kind of don't blame them for 4 turnovers.
4 straight turnovers. What do you want them to do?
Like, yeah,
and it was on the opposite half of the field, so they were already. The Bengals were put in great field position like 3 of those 4 times.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
But again, they're in the lead of the NFC South. They got Cardinals, Panthers, Falcons left. So 3 easy teams. Now they lost to the Panthers. They beat the Falcons, but nothing with this Bucks team this year has been easy. But they should still make the playoffs. For the Bengals, great comeback for them. Not their finest performance, clearly. Good enough to keep them within potential to be number 1 seed in the AFC. But they're winning a lot at the right time. They're going to be a problem in the AFC, potential Super Bowl team there. They could definitely beat anybody in that conference. But let's go on from them and move on to a game I know Jacob and Phil are going to be very happy with. It was the New York Giants beating the Washington Commanders 20-12 and what was Daniel Jones's first primetime victory.
And he had a great first half, throwing balls right where they needed to be, set his team up for that Saquon Barkley touchdown.
I believe this was a major win for them because the winner of this game,
tiebreaker.
I believe, the winner of this game went from, if you win the game, you have like an 80% chance to win, and if you lost it, you have like a 30% chance to win. So both these teams really needed this victory. Daniel Jones, again, didn't do the most, but he got the victory. The Giants' defense is what really helped them because they got the defensive touchdown off Tyler Heineke, made him fumble twice, picked up both fumbles, and I know there was controversy at the end with the no call and the PI, but a defender, a play or two before should have picked the ball up anyway.
Apparently, it was also illegal hands to the face on Washington anyway, so it would have been offset and penalty.
It's also rich for Washington fans to be complaining about calls when they only beat the Eagles because of the risk. So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And then,
everybody
for
was.
the Giants, they had played the Vikings next. It really depends on which Vikings shows up.
But now they can afford. They can afford to lose that game.
They can at least go to the loss. And I mean, I think that was the big things. One, now it got tiebreaker over Washington because a couple of the other teams that are creeping up. Luckily, Seattle's lost a couple games, so that's good. Seattle's lost a couple games. That's good because Giants don't have the tiebreaker. The other one, and we're going to get into it. I'm kind of hoping maybe, if Green Bay can pull a little bit spoiler as well, because Giants also have the tiebreaker over Green Bay. So that's another team. I'm like, okay, cool. Not worried about them. Detroit's kind of team, but you got some wiggle room. Yeah, that was a big one because you had to win that with it. I know, like you said, I know there was the call at the end, and also people saying like, what was it? Who was it? Looked at the ref, and the ref said he was good, but then threw the flag. Threw the flag when he asked, is he good and is he on sides? But he threw the flag.
Yeah, with that for Washington, I know Terry McLaurin said the ref said he was good, but we don't know what the ref said. We don't really know what the interaction was, so I can't confirm whether the ref said that. He could have been talking about something else or to someone else in his headset. I don't know.
He did that before another receiver went in motion.
Which
he reset after the receiver went in motion, so don't know if he got back on the line after that.
So
and also the Washington fans, guess what? Maybe the NFL is out to get you. I'm sorry, Dan Snyder's still your owner, and I'm sorry, you want to blame somebody. Maybe the NFL ain't trying to help you out when Dan Snyder's your owner and he's doing all that stupid stuff.
Maybe to expose the other owners.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe they are as a conspiracy against you, but your owner ain't helping. So I don't feel bad for them at all. I mean, I like Riverboat Ron. I have nothing against Commanders, but your owner, I dislike Dan Snyder. So screw you. So the heck with you.
Good for the Giants. Daniel Jones ensures that he gets one more year.
I think so. And for Washington, they played San Francisco this week. Ron Rivera went on there, said that they lose this game, he may go to Wentz the last two just to see. I don't think either one of those two are going to be the starting quarterback for the Commanders next year. But for Wentz, if he does start the last two games, he really needs to perform well. That way he could maybe get a starting job next year.
I feel like they should start Sam Howell just to see.
But they're still a borderline playoff team. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, I better not make the playoffs when we borderline.
But I mean, for Washington, though, they kind of want to make playoffs because for Washington to make playoffs, that's a big deal because this team is not that great. So, I mean, that's big for them. He's doing a good job with the off the field issues this team. So this is good for them to be where they're at, even though they rather have won this game. But they're not going to go to the same how with the potential for playoffs still there. So I could see them going back to Wentz after the San Francisco game. Don't play Wentz against San Francisco, please. I don't want him to play against San Francisco.
Yeah, you don't want that to be his first game back.
So move on. So big win for Daniel Jones fans.
Yeah, buddy. Yep.
And let's go
He's
into
still
our
there, baby.
yeah, still there. That really hurt I was really hoping they kind of would lose that way I could get at you because we're guaranteeing playoffs. But good for you. Good for
One
you.
more win. One more win.
One more win, baby.
Our last game to talk about, which I don't know how this happened after the greatest comeback ever, but it was the Green Bay Packers beating the Rams 24-12, and Baker didn't play well.
Oh, really?
Shocking.
Oh, really? I was told he was the greatest player to ever play.
But Max,
You
he had
know.
more time in their system. Wasn't he supposed to get better?
In fact, he lowered his, for you QBR fans, he had a 16 QBR, so he lowered it from what it was.
He's truly a generational talent.
And then, like, oh god, several of his picks, like, is one of his picks, like,
He
good Lord.
should have
What
thrown more
the
picks.
crap were you throwing, dude?
And he only had one, but he should have had more.
Like what the what he had was like, what were you? That was so underthrown. Like, what were you throwing to, buddy? But Baker Mayfield, guys. But I love this excuse for people. Well, he's had 5 different coaches. Yeah, but it's not like he's been on. It's not like Alex Smith where he was on the same team. No, it's because he's moved teams, and there's a reason you move teams sometimes.
And also, so he had 2 coaches coming a year. So essentially, 4 of them were because he got 2 of the additional ones were because he got the coach fired. So they had to bring in another guy, interim guy. So that counts too, which I think is kind of cherry picking. But he hasn't had like 4. He hasn't had that many coaches going to a season. He's had coaches get fired and the interims come in because either he shit the bed or someone else did.
I'll give Baker this. He finally threw his 100th career touchdown pass. That's impressive to get 100 passing touchdowns in the NFL. So congrats to him for that.
But this keeps Green Bay's playoffs hopes very slim chance, but it keeps them alive. Big win for them. For the Rams, I mean, besides the Baker thing, everything else is kind of irrelevant. I do think Baker will resign with them to be the backup. Matt Stafford today came out and said he's not retiring, but with him having the neck issues, all that, I could see them Baker saying, "Hey, I want to stick with y'all in case Matt Stafford doesn't hit." But if he does stay with the Rams and he does play, avoid Cooper Kupp in your fantasy leagues. Baker Mayfield does not like a number 1 receivers. So
yeah, well, I mean,
I wouldn't be. I'm honestly not too hopeful for him because of the whole Stafford Baker Mayfield situation.
You're gonna have to blow it up. You're that team's at a point. You're gonna have to blow it up. Like, you got your Super Bowl, you're gonna have to blow it up.
Oh, thanks for mentioning that.
And if I'm Sean McVay, like, I'm looking at yeah, it might be time to leave and see what else is out. I know people keep saying somebody might throw him a boatload of money to go and be an analyst or something, but I'm like, yeah, he can still head coach. And there's several teams that will probably throw him a boatload of money
for sure
to be the head coach.
But you mentioned the Rams Super Bowl. I've been seeing this a lot lately because Detroit has been playing well this year. The Rams have not. They said, did Detroit win that trade? I'm like, no. Both teams won this trade. The Rams got what they paid for. They got the Super Bowl. And that is the most important thing. They could go have 4 or 5 straight terrible seasons after this, and it'll still be worth it. You got the Super Bowl. So I don't understand how you can say the Rams lost this trade. They won the dang Super Bowl.
That was all they asked to do. That's all they wanted to do.
Ask Bobby and Jacob what they would give. How many seasons of bad football would they see just to see the Panthers win 1 Super Bowl?
At this rate, about 10, 15 years.
We've already dealt with so much bad football.
Yeah, I could do 10, 15 years for a Super Bowl. Give me 10 to 15 years.
And we all knew it would be a short-term buy. The window was like 2 or 3 years maximum. So you're wrong there, people. Rams won this trade. Detroit is also winning the trade. It happens sometimes. There can be 2 winners.
Sometimes trades are mutual. That doesn't have to be a loser. Yeah.
But should be interesting. Thank you guys again for watching. Yeah, keep watching, keep liking, keep subscribing. Hopefully YouTube doesn't keep taking away our views. I see
that's something.
Yeah, I see YouTube. But make sure to like, subscribe, comment, so we look better on the algorithm. And let us know if you have any takes or if you're hoping to see anything as the NFL season winds down. Again, I'm Legacy.
And I'm Max.
I'm Bobby.
Vitamin J.
Until next time.